Intellectuals. So if you know anything about Chance the Rapper, you probably know Donnie Trumpet and the Social Experiment. Well, these are two of the guys from, or it might even just be the whole Social Experiment, but I'm pretty sure it's just two of the guys from it, correct?
There's more guys in it, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's Nico Segal and Nate Fox. And I guess this would be EBM, but it's really like a genre bending type album that infuses a bunch of different sounds. You know, you got jazz in here, you got some classical at times, definitely some EDM and hip hop. So it's pretty interesting listen. And the self-titled album, their first one, I thought was probably one of the most surprising albums of the year. Up there with Lil Sims for me, you know, just that unexpected, but really blown away with how good it was. Before we kind of get into why, I want to just kind of get your sense of the album and if you enjoyed it or not.
I did enjoy it. I think Nico, who used to go by Donnie Trumpet, he's since axed that moniker. You can probably guess why. Nico and Nate, as part of the Social Experiment, when they released Surf back in 2015, I think that was a project that was the first project that Chance was heavily on after the big blow up with Acid Rap. And I thought Surf had probably too many features, really up and down, but you can still kind of get that lineage of the Social Experiment, understand what this jazz inclined band is about. And I mean, they tour with Chance, work with Chance, you're familiar with them. But it was kind of an up and down thing. I think Intellexual, Nico and Nate, they didn't focus. In fact, they branched out, as you mentioned, with genre. But I think this is just more impressive musically, because I think it's more about like their talents specifically, as opposed to just everyone's friends hanging out together and making music. So I liked it a lot. I actually like to listen to it again, because I think there's a lot of moments on here that I want to revisit. But I liked it. What really jumped out to you? Because again, like, this is our first time hearing these guys make this kind of music on their own, you know?
Yeah. So what jumped out to me most was just how, I mean, first of all, this is totally right up my alley. I enjoy like chill music just in general is by far my favorite music to listen to. And this album straight through is chill. Like, I don't think there's many moments that are going to you're going to find yourself like head bobbing to, or like getting really like jazzed up about, but it's just really well produced and well mixed, but also it's so interesting how they go about these songs, and they like you mentioned, these moments. Like there's on Money, like the way that they incorporate the strings and then slowly start working in snaps and like pattern drum beats by the end. It really like makes you, it almost feels like you're like underwater, like swimming underwater or something like that. Like they really make you feel like you're on adventures in these songs, and you're just seeing different things pass you by throughout, and it's really well done. And it actually kind of reminded me of the DJ duo Air, who I believe it was back in either the early 2000s or it might have been late 90s, dropped the album Moon Safari, which is one of my favorite EDM albums to go back to, just because it kind of creates the same feel where you're kind of going on this adventure and seeing these things pass by, but you're on this like same plane. It's almost like going on a safari, so to speak, but you just have these like really weird and interesting things going by, and like, that was really well done, or I just noticed that was great. So if you haven't listened to Moon Safari by Air, I'd recommend that, and then listen to this. I think you'll hear a lot of similarities in that. I guess the songs that stood out to me were probably Money, Call You, and Boca. But I want to hear from you first. Like, what stood out to you? What did you find most appealing about this album?
Yeah, I like Boca too. It's funny, the next song in the track list, Rockstar, has a feature from Knox Fortune, another Chicago artist. Yeah. At Knox, we know him from All Night on Coloring Book, of course, that chorus. And that really nasally singing that he does. And the way that song kind of just immediately flows in, and they have Knox, and there's not a lot of guests on this, but Knox comes in and just kind of rides like the instrumentation that they're already laying down. I thought it was really cool. And then you have Shoddy, the song after that, featuring one of the few raps on the project, Vic Mensa. Vic and Nico, of course, both became well known as part of the Kids These Days band from Chicago. That was, of course, before the Social Experiment was formed. The Save Money Click with Chance. This is deep underground Chicago shit, basically, in like 2012, 2011, around that time. and I think they made some really cool like rap rock songs at that time. But to have Vic and Nico, obviously they worked together since, but have them come back, and I think Vic just effortlessly drops down a solid verse again on this really smooth music that Nico and Nate are making.
Mhm.
I think it's just a really cool vibe, this whole project, and it was pretty under the radar as a release. I kind of just want to hear them make more stuff, just keep putting shit out. Like we know Nate's been working with Chance on
Yep.
Chance 4, but Nico it hasn't been as much anyway. But I mean, apparently Nico and Nate have a studio in like Burbank or whatever. I mean, I want these guys to keep working on their own stuff because clearly they have some really cool ideas. So I think the whole thing's a vibe. And again, I want to listen to it again because there's some things that I feel like I just kind of glanced over. I didn't take the time to really make note of. But I think the features when they popped up stood out to me for, I guess, not just being distracting, just kind of fitting in. But overall, I think that kind of speaks to just they're both engineers at the end of the day, and they really, know how to make stuff that sounds good. And that's what this is.
Definitely agree. One of their songs is already on our playlist, so check that out on Spotify. Nowstalgia Best of 2019. I'm hoping that they'll do some collaborations. I know that they've worked with Chance, but obviously Frank Ocean and Kanye they've also had a couple songs with. So I'm hoping to see them jump on more people and hopefully start to move things or add their flair to different songs.